Hello, boys and girls. This is Underseal, of course, and welcome to some Black Ops 2. Today we're gonna talk about those dirty cheaters, and basically how cheats work and how you should think when you think if someone is cheating or not, simply. I'm gonna try to give you some tips on how to actually spot cheaters, because that is gonna help us all to get rid of as many as possible. You probably have noticed, if you played a lot of FPS games like me, that certain games have a lot less cheaters than others, and that's because the game is harder to cheat in. 99% of people, or even more, that cheat do it with programs that someone else has written and they just download, and that means that it's as long as it's easy to download and install, a lot of people can use the hacks and get away with it. But if you have to program the hacks yourself, it's very hard, and you're gonna get very few hackers, and you're gonna have less of a problem. And a great example for this is Arma 2 DayZ mod. How many of you guys haven't stopped playing DayZ, the mod, because of all the hackers? Raise your hand. I'm raising mine right now. I stopped playing the game because it was a little bit unstable, but almost only because of all the hackers. It's not very fun. And simply put, Arma 2, the game that the mod DayZ is played on, that's a game that is made to be very easily modified, simply so people can make their own custom missions and have fun with their friends, and have a lot of different scenarios, like a Black Hawk falling down from the sky or something similar like that, and just come up with new and interesting ways to play the game with their friends. But it also ends up giving hackers a very easy room to get into the game and change game files that almost anyone can do. Almost anyone with a little bit of computer knowledge can hack in DayZ, give themselves weapons, give themselves more ammo, and if you're a little bit better than that, you can make people disappear or die with just a click of a button, and all kinds of stupid stuff. I know it sucks, but that's just how that game is. There's also another thing that also makes it easier to hack. For example, you might, if you have played games like Counter-Strike or Call of Duty, you do, and also if you play Battlefield and you play PlanetSide, you can easily say that PlanetSide and Battlefield 3 has more hackers than Call of Duty and oh man, what's the name? Call of Duty and Counter-Strike, and it's mostly due to one fact: player-to-player hit detection. How can I explain this in a good way? Player-to-player hit detection works simply... let's explain normal hit detection. Counter-Strike and Black Ops 2 and all the other Call of Duty games works in the way that it's the server who decides the hit detection. Basically, if I shoot at a guy, if I hit him or not. The server decides if, yes, you did hit the guy because you aimed in the right spot when you shot, so he should die from your shot. The server decides that in Counter-Strike and Black Ops 2. And that simply means that when you aim at a guy, you get the information from the guy that he's running behind a corner, and the server sends you that information, and on your screen he still shows up like it's not really behind the corner yet, but on his screen he is behind the corner, but you shoot on him because you see him, but he doesn't die, and he doesn't die because you had a bad ping. The information didn't really correlate to what you saw. You see him as being almost behind the wall, but not really. But on his screen he's already behind the wall, and the server sees this and then doesn't give you a kill. And it can suck, of course, but after all, if you have a bad ping, it's your fault. It's because you live in the wrong area, or because you play on a server in a country or in another country where you have a very bad ping, or you're downloading things. Ping, as I've always explained it I try to explain it in as quick and easy way as possible. Ping is the milliseconds it takes for information to be sent from your computer and to the server, or to other players on the server. So for example, if it tells you that you have full green bars, all the bars green in Black Ops 2, that means that you probably have around 50 ping, and 50 ping is really good. 50 ping is really good, that's what you want. If you have, for example, 100 or more than 100, that's not very good. ping is always better the lower you have, and worse the more you have. Worse for you and everyone else. So for example, in Battlefield 3 and PlanetSide 2, hit detection is player side. In Battlefield 3, I don't know why it is player side, because the servers could easily check that themselves, but in PlanetSide 2 it's more understandable that it is player side, simply because the servers has to keep up with sometimes up to 6,000 players, and if the server had to figure out where every single bullet went from every single player, it would be very hard, but it would also be the best choice to have for players to have a good experience with the game. So player-to-player hit detection works this way, that if I see a guy on my screen and I shoot him in the head, my computer sends the information to the server, and the server then sends the information to the other guy that he's dead, and he just drops down dead. And that's a big problem, because if you're playing on a server where you have 50 ping, or maybe less, or just a little bit more, aka a good ping, then you're gonna have a good time, no lag, nothing like that. But if a guy joins that server with a bad ping, he sees you running around, about to run around the corner, he shoots you before you run around the corner, but on your screen you have already run around the corner, but you still drop down dead. Because his computer, because he has bad ping, he kind of sees everything like it was in the past. He's kind of really behind on the information he gets, so he sees you like you're still not around the corner, even though you actually are. And when he shoots you, his computer sends the information to the server that then tells you that, bro, you're dead, nothing you can do about it, and you die even though you shouldn't have died. And here's where the problem comes. This is a big problem, simply because that makes it so much more easier to do hacks. You can simply send the information to the server that you killed everybody with one shot in the head, and the server will send that information to people and telling them they died that way. So that's actually how people get the kill. You have maybe heard about people killing everyone on the server with medipacks or repair tools, even though they're like thousands of meters away. All they gotta do is write a program that makes their game show them killing you with medipack, and send that information about all the players to every player at the same time, and then everyone dies, even though that actually didn't happen, but the server thinks it did because your computer told it to. That's why player-to-player hit detection is really bad, and it's hard to keep players from not hacking in games like that, and that's why Battlefield and PlanetSide has way more hackers than, for example, Call of Duty and Counter-Strike. Don't get me wrong here, Call of Duty and Counter-Strike still has many hackers, but Battlefield and PlanetSide 2 have a lot more hackers than these games compared. The percentage is way higher. So, there's different kinds of cheats. One of the most common cheats known and used by people with no skill, basically like kids that want to cheat, or just bad people that want to cheat, usually use aimbot. Aimbot is aim assist but on crack, and you know how you can get aim assist if you're playing on a console. The game kind of aims for you a little bit, so it's gonna be easier, because it's very hard to aim with a console, so it helps you out. But if you get aimbot, you basically have a program that always aims for the head, and all you gotta do is squeeze the trigger, and the program automatically aims for you on the head of the enemy, and you kill him straight away. Is very easily. Of course you gotta see the people then as well, but aimbot I would say is definitely the most used. Then comes wallhack. Wallhack is also very common. Wallhack is of course when you can see enemies through the walls, and usually you can see a lot more things through the walls, like that, the shock stick, shock grenades, concussion grenades, maybe a bouncing Betty, or maybe C4 on Battlefield and stuff like that basically. So it's very bad still. And this is a hack that is very hard to detect if a player is really good. Me, for example, I've been an admin for many years, and I can with my hand on my heart say that I could easily download a hack tomorrow, for like, not any hack, but for example wallhack, and I would be able to use it with no one noticing it. Of course you would see it on the video, since there's really no way to hide that from being recorded with Fraps or Dextory, since they record what is shown on the screen, but I would easily be able to do it when I'm not recording, and people wouldn't notice it. Then you have even more sneaky hacks that's even more hard to detect who is using and if they're using it. For example, in Battlefield 3 you can spot your enemies, and even in PlanetSide 2, by just looking at them and pressing Q, and they're spotted, and you can kind of see them for a couple of seconds with a red triangle on their head, and also where they run. In Battlefield 3 there's hacks that gives you the ability to spot every single enemy at any second in the game, and you can easily see this if you're on the same team as the hacker, because you see the entire enemy team getting spotted at the same time. But when you're on the enemy team, it's very, very hard, since you don't know if you're spotted or not, and that of course brings problems. There are many other hacks. There's, for example, no recoil hacks that just makes your gun not recoil, and similar things like that, but that's also a bit more easy to notice, because you see the gun doesn't actually move anything like that. There's also more hacks, of course, but they're not as well known or as well used. I don't feel any need to actually go over them. But I hope you guys found the commentary interesting and the gameplay entertaining. And as usual, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.